Hi, I'm Andrew. I play with the Brisbane area Nerf group, also known as BANG. Today I'm going to strip down one of my blasters, show you what's inside, talk you through what I've done, and then put it back together. Today we'll be looking at a Gear-Up Recon. This one has a Specs BZ HPA engine inside with the Spirit Breach. It's pump action, remote line HPA blaster.
And so here we are with all our components laid out. So starting with the Specs BZ, we've got the main part of the tank with the internal stem you can see there, and it's got the end cap that screws in like so. And the magic is this diaphragm, which is the quick exhaust valve. So when the tank is pressurized, the diaphragm presses against the inside of this stem to prevent air from coming out. When pressure starts dropping, the diaphragm presses against this inlet, opening up the stem and shooting air out the way you want it to go. So the back screws on just like so. Now you can use whichever pneumatic fittings you need to connect to your trigger and your air supply. This is a configuration that I found works for this blaster. So we have the inlet, we have the MJVO valve, which is the trigger, and then whatever parts you need to connect to the back of your Specs BZ tank. These are 6mm hose and different push fits. So when we press the valve, which is the trigger, the quick exhaust diaphragm slips back and the air comes out the front. And connecting it up to my the tank, here's what it sounds like. A bit of water vapor coming out there. Every time you saw I press the trigger, we had a burst. Now the Spirit Breach was invented by Nicky Seawright, also of BANG, and here the pusher itself telescopes into the Specs BZ. So I've got some 3/8 of an inch brass inside, and the pusher is made out of 11 32nds of brass. It's connected to the tip of a worker blue metal short dart kit pusher. I've shortened that, ground down the thread, and also drilled through with an 8.5mm drill to open some space. And you can see it goes all the way in to the tank itself, but it doesn't protrude further than the end of the internal stem. So the pusher just fits into the bolt sled in the usual way. You can see the pieces to hold the pump grip in the bolt sled as well. And that is a Spirit Breach. So the 11 32nds telescopes into the 3/8 internally. Now for the shell itself, modifications include grinding out some space to hold the Specs BZ itself. For the fittings at the back, I made a few holes for the airline going in and around, and then in the handle itself, some space for the MJVO3 below the trigger. So it just fits in like this, all holds together nice and neatly. And that sits just like that. I like having the MJVO3 in the handle entirely, and then I just need to trim the trigger a little at the bottom to give a nice smooth edge to press the trigger of the valve. And there you go. Now the barrel was made by Spectre as well. It's a 17 32nds brass on the inside with aluminium on the outside, and Liam's put a nice gentle chamfer there to load darts cleanly. And this is held in place with the worker plastic piece that just slots in like so. The left side of the shell is similar to the right on the inside, of course, and here you can see the black slide piece that I've trimmed and glued in place, and the screw posts at the top of that help to offset the couple of screw posts that we've lost where the Specs BZ went. Another thing to show you is the Talon mag adapter. I trimmed and ground out a little so that it fit a bit more neatly with the front part of the Specs BZ. So So it just sits in neatly like so. And of course, because the black slide piece is reversed, the screw holes are on the other side. And there we are. Now at the back here we can see where the airline comes through, and the stock cap piece, I've made holes to allow that. And there we are, nice and snug and secure. Now the stock piece is a worker stock. Again, I've made holes here for the push fits and airline to go through, and the spring-loaded locking pieces are split in two to make room for that. So not as strong as stock form, but they do hold it in okay. Also, by using this spacer piece for the Picatinny rail, the screw goes through into the stock attachment point for a little bit of extra strength there as well. And a couple more screws holding the spacer pieces in. The one that sits above the sliding bolt sled, I need to trim it shorter so there's space for the bolt sled to move freely. So I just cut that screw short, and it's a bit tricky to hold onto, but there it is. Now around Liam's barrel I've got this extra bit of 19mm metal faux barrel, just so it sits neatly inside the front piece of the Recon. And here you can see a couple of Gavin Fuzzy 3D printed pieces. So we slide the barrel in, and these couple of screws here hold the main barrel in place. Then the rest just attaches in the usual way. And the Picatinny rails are just regular worker ones. So because they slide in across from the stock, across the main blaster, and then onto the front barrel attachment, it gives a little bit of extra strength holding the pieces together. So I've got a black Blaster Tech Scar barrel. You could use orange, whatever you like. This is adjustable, so you can adjust how much twist you wish to have. And that just friction fits onto the front of the 17/32 brass. The pump kit is, again, it's a worker one. Just slides on in the usual way. I've got a straight foregrip in place there, but you could use an angled one or whatever you like. And we'll test it works. Connect our air supply, and you can feel it firing there with the breech open. There's the breech, and again you can feel it firing.
So there you are, guys. That's how I put together my Spirit Breach Specs BZ Gear-Up Recon. This has been my first episode of Blaster Breakdown. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave comments and questions below. Give me a like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.